Hi guys, this is Mr. Houston back with you once again. Today we want to look at a type of language that you all are probably familiar with because we've been working on it since we were probably about third grade. We're just going to take it to another level in this high school course. What is figurative language? Well, figurative language is language that is just that. It's figuratively. It's used whenever you're trying to describe something and you usually compare it with something else. It's not meant to be taken word for word, it's not literal. There are different types of figurative language. There are 8 that I want to point out to you today, and there are many, many more. But we are going to focus on these 8: imagery, simile, metaphor, alliteration, personification, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, and idioms. Now, let's look at them individually. First, imagery. If you look at the word imagery, you'll see image in the word. And when we think of images, we think of pictures. So imagery is just that. It creates a picture for the reader as they are reading. It appeals to the 5 senses of the reader. It's descriptions of people or objects, but it's stated in the terms of our senses. And of course, you know the 5 senses are sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. And that's what imagery appeals to. Similes. It's a type of figurative language that involves a direct comparison between two unlike things, usually with the words like or as. Notice it said a figure of speech in the definition on the screen. Figure of speech, figurative language are the same thing. Those terms can be used interchangeably, they are synonymous with one another. So when you hear one, know that they are the same thing. Look at an example that they've given us here that we've got for a simile. The muscles on his brawny arms are as strong as iron bands. We are making a comparison there between the muscles on his arms and iron bands. We're making that comparison. We're using as to make that comparison to show you how strong his arms really are. Metaphor is a figure of speech which involves an implied comparison between two relatively unlike things using a form of be, such as am, is, are, was, and were. The comparison is not announced by like or as. Here's an example. The road was a ribbon wrapped through the desert. Okay, we're comparing the road to a ribbon wrapped around the desert. It just goes on and on and on, and it's very winding. And it's done using the form of be. As you can see, you've got was there to make that comparison. Alliteration is actually a sound device, but usually when we study figurative language, we go ahead and study alliteration also. This is often found in poetry. It's when the repeated consonant sounds occur at the beginning of a word or within words. Here's an example. She was wide-eyed and wondering while she waited for Walter to waken. You can hear the repetition of the W sound in those words. That is alliteration. Repetition of consonant sounds occurring at the beginning or within words. Let's talk about personification. It's a type of figurative language or figure of speech that gives the qualities of a person to an animal, an object, or an idea. If you'll look at the word personification, you see person located in the word. So it's giving human qualities to something that's not human. For instance, the wind yells while blowing. Wind cannot yell. Only a living thing can yell. So we've given the wind the qualities of a human. Right, onomatopoeia. That's a fun word, and it's a fun one to work with. It's the use of words that mimic sounds. For instance, the firecracker made a loud kaboom. We have all these different sounds like buzz for the B, and zap, and bang, and boom, and pow. Those are all onomatopoeias. Hyperbole. Sometimes people say hyperbole, but the correct way to pronounce it is hyperbole, an exaggerated statement used to heighten effect. It is not used to mislead the reader, but it emphasizes a point. It's over exaggeration, actually. She said so on several million occasions, would be an example. There is no way that she has said that many times, literally. She said it a lot, but not several million. That's just an exaggeration to get a point across. Idioms. An idiom, or sometimes it's called an idiomatic expression, refers to a construction or expression in one language that cannot be matched or translated word for word in another language. For instance, she has a bee in her bonnet, meaning that she is just obsessed with something and it can't be literally translated into another language word for word. That's why they're called idioms. Some people like to refer to it as slang, but let's use the proper terminology: idiom or idiomatic expression. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.